What's up guys, Faded here and welcome back to my channel for another weekly video. And today I have a gaming PC build for you guys, and this is supposed to double as a gaming PC for the family and also a 3D rendering workstation without the price of a workstation PC. Their budget was around $1,400 and I was able to get it just under $1,300, and all with the GTX 780, which is awesome. So anyways, another thing, they wanted it to be tiny, small, out of the way, whisper quiet, not to be invasive. They don't even want to know it's there. They don't want to have to maintenance it all that often, except for the occasional dust cleaning and things of that nature. And they also don't want to have to upgrade it or have to worry about replacing parts, anything of that sort. Just have it, tuck it away, and not have to worry about it except for the usual maintenance. And so with that, we chose to go with a mini ITX build, which I think worked out really quite well. It looked great, especially in this case, which is called the BitFenix Prodigy, which is really nice. You're able to fit in a large graphics card, a regular standard ATX power supply, so you're able to get the power to supply everything that you need in a gaming PC without having to sacrifice power and your wallet on something like a mini ITX power supply. So let's go ahead and go over some of these parts here. The motherboard, I went with a Z87i Deluxe, which this is the deluxe version of the Z87 Asus chipset. Now, we were able to save a bit of money here because Z97 just came out, therefore dropping the price of Z87, and also having all the benefits of the Z87 board, along with overclocking because it's the Z version rather than H or anything like that. Just the right amount of RAM slots that we need, a slot for a graphics card, and plenty of slots for SATA ports and things like that to be able to put hard drives, SSDs, because they have a RAID configuration that they are going to use 4TB hard drives to be able to save their 3D rendering data and workstation stuff. But anyways, enough of that. Let's go ahead and move on to the CPU. The CPU, I chose the 4670K, which is the unlocked version of the Intel chip. This is the little brother to the 4770K, which you can still get some really good overclocks and it performs really well, and they don't really have the use for the hyper-threading or anything like that. Most of the applications that they're going to be using are single-threaded. Not to mention that most games nowadays are still single-threaded unless you're talking about like Battlefield. They are going to start using that more and more, but anyways, gaming is not the most important thing on this computer. So yes, the base clock on this CPU is 3.4 gigahertz, I believe. I don't even know the boost clock, but we are going to overclock it to about 4.2 gigahertz, which is a nice, modest overclock that'll be able to do everything you want without having to worry about stability or anything of that sort. Now, as with Haswell, you're going to get higher temperatures, and so that we chose to go with the CPU cooler, but once again, you don't have to want to worry about failing parts or anything like that. So we chose to go with a air cooler rather than a closed loop water cooler, because there you have about 2 points of failure, and that's just another thing to have to worry about. So the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo is really nice. It's gotten really good reviews. The only thing is I think it's really hard to put on. Oh my goodness, that is a trip to put on. Anyways, it's a really good cooler. It'll keep your CPU down to about 30 degrees Celsius, so that's a really good purchase there, and we got it for like $25, I believe, so that was a great buy. Now for the RAM, we chose to go with, once again, something that has a really low failure rate. Kingston has a really low failure rate, so once again, we're not going to have to worry about replacing parts there because they have, I think, a 0.5% failure rate on their RAM chips. And this is also a 1600 megahertz because they don't really need the 2400 megahertz because none of the applications that they're going to be using along with gaming are actually going to use that. So 1600 is the best for frame latency, and it'll do everything that they need, and no need for any more than that. Now for storage, we're going to go ahead and load Windows onto a standard Corsair 120 gigabyte SSD. It has all the benefits of an SSD without, breaking the bank on something like a Samsung Pro or a Samsung Evo or anything like that. And they also have their RAID configuration of terabyte hard drives that they're going to have to worry about, but they just wanted something that they could load Windows on, and that would be quick and snappy. Now for the powerhouse of the build is the GTX 780 from Gigabyte. This is their overclocked edition, which is awesome. If you haven't seen my review on it, they saw my review and they really liked it and they chose to dive in on that one. I'm very excited that I was able to fit this under their budget and still have some wiggle room for anything more that they would ask for. So now to power all these great components that we have in this little tiny case, I chose to go with the Seasonic Platinum power supply, which is a 760 watt. It's 80 plus rated. Shouldn't have to worry about any power fluctuations or anything, and these components should be able to last a really long time on this Platinum power supply. And another good thing is that this was actually able to fit in the BitFenix Prodigy, which, if any of you have looked, the BitFenix Prodigy has some issues with some ATX power supplies being able to fit in their power supply chassis. So anyways guys, here's all the parts. You know, it's a mini ITX build, so it doesn't look like there's a whole lot here, but let me tell you, this thing is going to pack a punch. I'm going to have the benchmarks at the end of this video. Be sure to stick around for that. So let's go ahead and start building this computer. You guys kick back, relax, and oh yes, if you want me to build your computer, please let me know. And anyways guys, have a good one.